Hi, welcome back to our studio and our first review of 2023. Today it's the turn of the Ping G430 driver, just launched this week, along with all the other manufacturers launching at the same time, so it's very exciting times. I'm going to hit a few shots with this for you today. You can read on the website all about what they've changed physically. I think you and I are more interested in how it performs. So I'm going to be hitting the Max model, which is their standard one, the draw bias model, and the low spin model, which obviously does what it says on the tin, hopefully. A bit of lower spin, bit more distance, but slightly less forgiving. Now, Ping, as a history, is the best-selling driver every year in the UK. The reason being is it hits more fairways. Now, it's not the longest because it does have higher backspin rates than pretty much every other driver out there, but that backspin is your friend. It stabilizes the ball in flight, doesn't send it so wide if you happen to hit a poor shot, and that's why Ping consistently have high performing drivers in terms of number of fairways hit. And that's going to be up to you to decide whether you want to hit more fairways and give up a few yards, or you just want to go for the big bomb, in which case the Ping brand, maybe the low spin model, but the Ping brand is probably not for you. So I'm going to hit a few with the Max. It's at 10.5 degrees loft, which is a little bit high for me, but I have put a shaft in which suits me. Now, Ping are renowned for forgiving drivers. I mean, that's why they have their position in the marketplace. So let's just see if we can hit my little baby fade down here, first at Castle Stewart, and see how it performs. It feels so solid, as Ping always does, and that's behaved exactly as I would have expected it to. I can feel it was a bit spinny because that's again what Ping do, and it's a slightly higher launch than I would normally have off my driver, but again the first indications are that this is going to be a very solid driver, and the sound compared to last year is much better. So I've hit quite a few shots now and I've kept it going. I'm just going to see, I mean, you can see by this last shot on the screen here, 3,500 spin is a little bit high for me to put it in the bag because I play fade. That's obviously increased in the spin rate. If you play draw, then that will obviously be a lot lower. I'm going to try and hit a couple of draws now and see how it performs for me then. But the club head speed at 105, I normally average 105 to 107, so that's pretty standard. Ball speed at 151, that is definitely an uplift on last year's Ping, which I couldn't get to 150. I got to about 148, 149. So I'll just try and draw a few and then see if we can get that spin rate down, and it should go a little bit further. Okay, so it is a draw. It's going to hit the rough, unfortunately, but it should carry a bit further. Yeah, so when I draw it here, the spin rate comes down below 3,000. I lost about 600 revs of backspin on the ball, and I carried it 256 instead of 246. So when I go into draw mode, it is worth a little bit more to me, but I can only game a fade on the course. So I always fit a club for the shot that I'm more likely to play, and we'll do that with you when we fit you. You must buy a club that fits your swing pattern. Okay, so let's have a look at the numbers overall for all the heads and see how they came up, and then you'll be able to judge whether it's something you might want to try for the season ahead. So as we look at the numbers here, I used my own driver for a few as well, just to show you what I get from my current gaming driver, which is not a Ping product. And you can see that these are the sort of numbers I expect from a driver, about 150 ball speed on average. Backspin round about 2.5. I'm normally fractionally over that actually, and then a carry of about 255. So the one you saw me hit there, the Max, similar ball speed, which off a more lofty club was quite impressive. You can see the launch angles significantly higher. The spin rate though, this is typical Ping, about 900 revs more, and that it does affect the overall carry distance. And not only that, when it lands, it's obviously not going to run as far as well, especially outdoors. You'll see a big difference there. But very solid, very consistent, and I hit it pretty straight actually, as you can see on the top here. The low spin model got a fraction more ball speed. It launched slightly lower even though it was the same lofty club because the weighting inside is slightly different, but instantly I lose 500 revs of backspin, which equates again to around about 10-11 degrees of carry and then a bit more roll on the ground as well. So that would be beneficial to me because I still found it incredibly forgiving for a low spin model compared to some of the other manufacturers out there. Didn't have as much tendency to turn this one over, and the fade was pretty much nailed on with the low spin model. I think it sits slightly squarer and hasn't got quite as much draw bias in it, which explains that. Really like that club actually for my game. And then the draw bias one. Now this, I don't think I've hit a club which is more heavily draw biased than this. I mean, if you struggle with the ball bending to the right and seemingly can't do anything about it, this really must be a club that you try out. Ball speed was amazing off it, similar to my own one, if not slightly faster. The spin rate, again, Ping is a high spin rate. That is what gives you some of the forgiveness, so don't worry about that at all. You'll see a lot on these other reviews that you need a spin rate of 2,000-ish or whatever, but you'd have to be hitting the ball incredibly straight and consistently to tolerate 2,000 spin revs, because if you put any side spin on it, it's going to go miles offline. This really does help to stabilise the flight. Now, interestingly, it didn't go as far for me because of the draw spin and the spin. And you can see up here, no matter what I did, and I'm a fader of the ball every single shot, I could not get the ball to fade. So I was trying to play big fades and the ball still drew, consistently drew every time. So if you do struggle with the ball bending off to the right, this club is amazingly heavily draw biased and should give you a much straighter ball flight. It's well worth a try. So in summary, the Ping G430 was very impressive. Sounded much better, felt really solid, looks good behind the ball. No complaints whatsoever. Of the three models, there's a significant difference between the three. The Max is going to be obviously our best selling model. A little bit of draw bias in there, but really solid to hit. Quite high spin, but if you want to hit more fairways, you need to tolerate a bit more backspin. So don't always buy the driver which goes furthest for you. Buy the one which hits the most fairways, because that'll have the biggest effect on your score. On my dispersion here, my own club was the dark blue, so again, was the longest, but I did hit it a little bit less consistently. The light turquoise was the Ping low spin, which you can see by the results there. I'll be seriously considering this year. Very consistent for a low spin head model. The Max, which is what you saw me hit, was the red one. 30-40 shots, barely missed the fairway at all with that club. It was so solid. Highly recommended. And then I hit the yellow dots there. I hit a few of the draw model, not really made for me, because trying to play a fade anyway, and with a slightly higher ball speed than that club is geared for, it's not really made for me. But I couldn't get it to fade even when I tried, which is I guess a compliment to its draw biasness. So if you're a slicer, definitely come and give that a go. So overall, Ping G430, very impressive. Think they're going to retail around about $469, which I know is a lot of money for a driver. But if you are in the market for a new driver, or the one you've got currently doesn't hit enough fairways or work for you, come and see us in the studio here. We've got all models, all shafts, and we'll make sure that you get the right club that suits your game, which is the most important thing after all.